What is up, my sugar plum scented reindeer droppings, and welcome back to another episode of Getting Baked, the official baked goods podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Weird Al songs. The musical genius Weird Al Yankovic is my favorite musical artist of all time. But before I get too much into that, I have a very special announcement because this episode of Getting Baked is the first of I don't know how many of a mini series I'm calling the Uncle Greg mini series. What is this Uncle Greg mini series, you might ask? Well, a few weeks ago, my uncle Greg found out that I have a YouTube channel, and he was like, "Send me those links, brother. I want to check out your shit." Of course, he didn't say it like that, but so I was like, "All right." And I looked at my channel, and I was like, "Wow, I have to make some content for this man, because if I send him a Jackbox video, he's going to think I'm a fucking nut job." So hence, that's what this video is. I'm not sure if my uncle is a Weird Al connoisseur, but Weird Al has been popular since the 80s. That's 4 decades of popularity, by the way. So my uncle Greg, who could be 30, could be 50, who knows how old he is? He's a man of mystery. He's an unaging statue of pure manliness and handsomeness. Probably knows who Weird Al is, so maybe he'll know something about what I'm talking about in here. I'll put more Uncle Greg friendly links in the description of this video, so after he watches it, hopefully he's watching right now, he can go check out some other stuff and avoid the weird side of what I post on the internet. So, to further this point about Uncle Greg's, a recent Harvard study found that 2/3 of American people aged 15 to 25 have at least one uncle named Greg. And to further how almost how common an Uncle Greg is, and how there's just so many of them in the world. Here, I have 7 pictures of Uncle Greg's. One of them is my real Uncle Greg, and 6 of them I found from Google imaging Uncle Greg and putting them here. And I bet you can't tell which one is mine. Some of these pictures are really good. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. Weird Al. Weird Al is exactly what he sounds like. He's a weird guy named Al. He has been making song parodies, and I guess he also makes some original content of his own since the 80s, and they're weird. They are, I guess that's not really that descriptive, because someone named Weird Al is going to be weird. But just looking at these pictures, the one on the top is him from earlier in his career, and the one on the bottom is the style he's gone towards now. He's gotten LASIK eye surgery, he's let his hair grow out, and he shaved finally. So he looks a little less into kids in the bottom photo. But anyway, his hair, if I could have his hair, I would. It's so beautiful, so luscious. And so anyway, Weird Al has been a beacon of inspiration for me my entire life. He's given me some sort of refuge where I can go listen to his weird music and feel more comfortable in my own skin, knowing how weird I can be. Like, I make dumbass YouTube videos, and just knowing that it's okay to be weird was something I really looked up to for, I guess, my entire life, ever since I discovered him. So I'm going to be talking about some Weird Al songs that I really, really like today. And I have a few honorable mentions. These are all songs that I feel like anyone could make an argument for being in their top 10. They just didn't make it into mine. I'm sure if there were actual Weird Al fans subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would probably get crucified for not including The Saga Begins. That might be one of his best songs. That's a parody of American Pie, but it tells the story of the first Star Wars movie, and not A New Hope, but The Phantom Menace. And really, any of these songs are bangers. And I have a few more honorable mentions. These are all the Polka songs. So he makes like polka medleys that are, they're not parodies. They're I guess the real lyrics of real songs, except they're they're combined into one big mashup, and Weird Al does a polka cover of them. He is fluent in the accordion, and if that's not enough information for you to be able to figure out what these might sound like, just go give one a listen and you'll know what they all sound like. Except they're all from, I guess he releases like one per album basically, so it's like a bunch of hits from that time period. So if you just listen to them in order, you kind of get like a brief history of music, and that's really cool to listen to. But I didn't put these in my top 10, even though probably one or two of them would have made it, just because they're a bit polarizing. Like my mom and brother do not care for them. Much to their chagrin, I will play them whenever I get control of the Alexa in our kitchen. But yeah, these are all absolute bangers. Go listen to them. And the first song on my top 10 list is the song Eat It. For every song, I'll have like a little picture of either the album cover or the song cover thing or the something. I guess you'll see it. And then there's a bunch of information, like when it came out, how long it is, what it's a parody of, what album it's from, yada yada yada. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about each song, what it's about, why I like it, and I'll read some lyrics from it. So if you haven't heard it, you get a nice taste of what this is. So the first song is Eat It. This is a parody of Michael Jackson's Beat It. And obviously, this is about having a Weird Al singing to you because you're a naughty child and you don't want to eat your dinner, which is a nice juxtaposition of the song Michael Jackson wrote about avoiding gang violence. So this is a song about eating food, but you don't want to eat food. But Weird Al doesn't care that you don't want to eat food. He just wants you to eat it. So the opening line for this song is, "How come you're always..." Oh, by the way, I was going to put like audio snippets of what the actual song sounded like so that you would actually be able to hear it. And then I realized that YouTube copyright strikes are a thing and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to read lyrics. So the lyrics for the song are, "How come you're always such a fussy young man? Don't want no Captain Crunch, don't want no Raisin Bran. Well, don't you know that other kids are starving in Japan? So eat it. Just eat it." That's the opening stanza, I guess, of the song. And I like cereal, so I thought that would be interesting to put in. But yeah, that's basically what the song is. It's that repeated over and over again, but with different words. You're too fussy. This is probably one of his top 5 most popular songs, so I felt like it was a good inclusion on my list. The next song is Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. This is very obviously a parody of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. This this is really funny. A lot of his all of his songs are funny, but this one is hilarious. He's singing about girls, and they all want to eat food. If there was a more broad statement that would offend a lot of women, I'd like to see it, because this one generalizes them a lot. It's just the sound effects in this song compared to the Cyndi Lauper version are really funny. There's like a bunch of fart noises, and I get that that's kind of crude humor, but it just makes the song sound better. Something interesting about this song I read somewhere online, so you know it has to be true. You know how at the beginning of Girls Just Want to Have Fun, there's like that, I have no idea how to describe it musically, but it sounds like wow. That audio thing right at the beginning of Girls Just Want to Have Fun goes from the left side of your headphones or speakers to the right side. The one in the Weird Al parody has the pitches reversed, and it goes from the right side to the left side. So that's just a funny bit of trivia I found. And so my favorite lyrics from this song are: some girls like to buy new shoes, and others like driving trucks and wearing tattoos. There's only one thing that they all like a bunch. Oh, girls, they want to have lunch. So some girls like shoes, some girls like trucks, but all women just want to have lunch. The next song is The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota, and this is a unique song because it's, one, an original song. This isn't a parody of anything. Two, it's really long. 7 minutes is a pretty long time for a song. And you'll see later on this list, I really like long Weird Al songs, especially ones that tell a story, because Weird Al is such a good storyteller that just every aspect of this song is just perfect. This is a song about a guy who has vacation time from his job, so he asks his family where they want to go. There's only one place they want to go. They want to go see the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota. So they take a 3-day road trip, encountering much shenanigans along the way, and they finally see it. And it's just a glorious tale of family and national wonders. I have seen 2 Weird Al concerts. One was his Mandatory Fun tour in 2015, one of those years. That was his latest album. That was the first concert of his I went to. And the second one was the No Strings Attached tour, which was this past summer in 2019. And that was more of a general tour where he would just go over his greatest hits, I guess. Except what made it unique was, instead of just playing with his band, he's played with his band, the same band, since the beginning of his existence. He's also playing with them with background singers and a full concert orchestra behind him. So this song with a concert orchestra and backup singers sounded so fucking awesome live. So my favorite lyrics from this song are: the scenery was just so pretty. Boy, I wish the kids could have seen it, but you can't see out of the side of the car because the windows are completely covered with the decals of all the places where we've already been. And then he lists a bunch of wacky tourist vacation spots such as Elvis-O-Rama, the Tupperware Museum, Cranberry World, the Shuffleboard Hall of Fame, and the Mecca of albino squirrels. So that basically sums up the entire song. It's Weird Al and his family going to see a bunch of weird national monuments and museums. My favorite part of the song is that they pick up a hitchhiker named Bernie along the way, and I don't want to spoil what happens to him, but I'm convinced that it's Bernie Sanders, and there's nothing you can say to make me think otherwise. The next song is eBay. This is a parody of the Backstreet Boys hit love song, I Want It That Way. But instead of singing about how much they love you and how much they want it that way, this is a guy singing about eBay and how he has an addiction to online shopping, and he will endlessly buy useless shit solely because it's on the internet for him to buy. He buys shit like a bunch of tube socks, a used golf bag, a pet rock. So this is a lot of the best parodies are the ones that take the original song lyrics and just do the complete opposite, so that the tone of the original song is there, but the lyrics are all out of whack, so it sounds really weird compared to the original song and kind of backwards. This is a great example of that, because instead of a nice slow love song, it's buying shit on the internet and his addiction to that. So my favorite lyrics from this song: I'll buy your tchotchkes. Sell me your watch, please. And of course, if I wanted to embarrass myself, I would have actually sung those, how he sings them in the song. But I won't. I still have a semblance of my pride. The next song is Amish Paradise. This is another one of his most popular songs, and I would be out of my mind if this wasn't somewhere in my top 10. So this is a parody of Gangsta's Paradise. And I know I talked last song about how that was a nice kind of opposite mirror image of what the original source material was. This is also an example of that. This is a parody of a nice gangsta rap song that is now about Amish people. And if those two groups of people, those two demographics, weren't far enough away from each other on the coolness scale, I don't know what would be. This is Weird Al singing about a typical Amish man's life. I really can't describe it better than that. You just got to go listen to this, and it's 100% an accurate portrayal of what Amish people live like. So my favorite lyric is, "Think you're really righteous? Think you're pure in heart? Well, I know I'm a million times as humble as thou art." And if that sentence doesn't just sum up every Amish man's wet dream, I don't know what would. And we're in my top 5 songs. My 5th favorite song is One More Minute. This is kind of an Elvis style song, although it's not a direct parody of anything. And this is Weird Al singing about an ex-lover, how much they hurt him, and what kind of pain he would endure instead of spending the titular one more minute with this person. So he describes all sorts of crazy things that he would rather do than spend time with this person. And I think my favorite is he would clean all the bathrooms in Grand Central Station with his tongue. That is commitment right there. That is commitment to the meme. My favorite lyric from this song is the first like minute to 30 seconds. You're like, all right, this is a guy singing about a broken heart. And then once you hear this, you're like, wait a minute, something's wrong. So he says, "And I burned down the malt shop where we used to go, just because it reminds me of you." Once you hear that, you're like, wait a second, this man would commit arson. This man would commit arson because he hates this person. And then you hear him like diving into a swimming pool full of razor blades or something, and you're like, oh, man, he must hate this person. I think it's based on a real person. I hope it's based on a real person. That person can go fuck themselves. The next song is Hardware Store. So my dad loves going to the hardware store, and I really don't, which is why I love this song. This is another original, and the opening few seconds are kind of like the song Money, where there's like a cash register and like coins and stuff, except instead of money, obviously, it's like hammers and drills and saws and stuff like that. So you hear that every time I put my Weird Al playlist on shuffle and I just hear like the hammer, I'm like, fuck yeah, shit's about to get intense. And this song is just an absolute blast to listen to. It has a really fast tempo, which means he's just spitting lyrics really, really quickly, and it's just, you're like, how does he think that fast? And so the verses and the choruses are in this song are very fast paced. Except there's one right before the last chorus where he talks at like supersonic speed. He's like Eminem, and he talks about all the stuff they got. So I'm just gonna read you like the first 2 lines because it's literally a tongue twister. So he says, in a nice deep voice, he goes, "Would you look at all that stuff?" And he goes, "They've got Allen wrenches, gerbil feeders, toilet seats, electric heaters, trash compactors, juice extractors, shower rods and water meters, walkie-talkies, copper wires, safety goggles, radial tires, BB pellets, rubber mallets, fans, and dehumidifiers." That was really hard. That took like 100% of my brain power to say without stumbling up or stuttering or something like that. So he says that, but he says it like 4 times longer than I did. Yeah, and this guy's obsession with hardware store is kind of like the eBay guy. This guy like camps out in front of his hardware store before it opens, and he wants like a pair of pliers for every single room in his entire house. And that's commitment, you know? This is the physical embodiment of my dad in song form. All right, we've reached my top 3, and I would be absolutely out of my fucking mind if I didn't include White and Nerdy in my top 3, because this is, I know hardware store is the embodiment of my dad. This is the embodiment of me. I am very white and very nerdy. And this is a great example of taking the source material and spinning it on its head. This is kind of like Amish Paradise, how it's parody of Ridin' Dirty, a nice gangsta rap song again, except this is literally the opposite of gangsters. It's a nerdy white guy. The music video for this is awesome. It's got Key and Peele in it. I would go check it out. And it's just a guy singing about how nerdy he is. Like, this was made for me. I can relate to like half the stuff, or maybe not half the stuff, but I can relate to a lot of it, which I probably shouldn't be proud of saying. But my favorite lyrics are, I got myself a fanny pack. They were having a sale down at the Gap. Spend my nights with a roll of bubble wrap. Pop, pop, hope no one sees me getting freaky. And I'll let you decide which half of that I relate to. The next song is Jackson Park Express. This is another long story song. This is about a guy who gets on the Jackson Park Express bus, which is in the city of Chicago, greatest city in the world. That's just a fact. I am ashamed that I have never ridden on the Jackson Park Express, but that's for another time. Maybe I'll do like an adventure where I go into Chicago and go on that bus. So anyway, this is a guy on a bus, and he sees a lady get on the bus, and he is interested in this lady, and he has a silent conversation with her that is interpreted solely through body language and subtle facial feature movements, such as winking and crinkling your nose and clearing your throat and stuff like that. Unbeknownst to this man, it's probably a very one-sided conversation that the woman does not know she's taking part in. And he and this woman go through a 9-minute relationship with all the tropes of every relationship, where there's nice young love and a bad breakup. He goes through all the stages of grief in this song. And it's just, I want to fall in love as much as this guy has one day. I want to do some of the shit he says in this song. And it wouldn't be a Weird Al song without weirdness. This story basically has 3 acts, and in each act, the love activities get weirder. So I'm going to read you the first act. Not the entire first act, but I'm going to read you the weirder parts of the first act. Like before you hear this song, or this part of the song, I should say, you're like, hey, this is like a typical love song, except it takes place on a bus. And now you're like, oh. So, here we go. I arched my eyebrow, ever so slightly, which was my way of asking, do you want my old Hewlett-Packard printer? It still works, kinda. And I got a bunch of ink cartridges left. Then she let out a long sigh, which I took to mean, Mama, what is that deodorant you're wearing? It's intoxicating. Why don't we drive out to the country sometime and collect deer ticks in a Ziploc baggie? Oh yeah. I gave her a penetrating stare, which could only mean, you are my answer to everything, which is why I'll probably do very poorly on the written part of my driver's test. So there's that. Have you ever been in a relationship where you and your partner drive out to the country and collect parasites in food storage containers? I'll let that one simmer. And my favorite Weird Al song of all time is Trapped in the Drive-Thru. This is a long song. It's almost 11 minutes, and it's a parody of Trapped in the Closet by R. Kelly. And now, as much as I love this song, I gotta say fuck R. Kelly. Just do a quick Google search if you aren't familiar with why. I don't really want to talk about that, but I guess I kind of have to, because I have to talk about the source material, because that is a very important knowledge nugget to have for unpacking this song. So the aforementioned shitty person who wrote the original song Trapped in the Closet is a 33-part rap opera about the main character dealing with the consequences of having a one-night stand. So each part of that opera is like 3 to 5 minutes, so the whole thing is like 2 hours, and it's very recognizable and distinct. It has this nice like whistling sound with this very distinct beat, and each episode or part kind of ends in a cliffhanger, and Weird Al perfectly copies the flow and the feel of that song. Although this is just one song, it kind of has 3 parts, and you kind of know when the parts are over because he'll say something dramatic, and then there'll be like a pause in the lyrics as the music kind of does like some fancy things. This is the perfect song. I said Weird Al was a storyteller. This is a story, and this has some real ass dialogue in it. Every line is like, I said, she said, I said, and it's about him and his wife trying to find out what to do for dinner, and spoiler alert, they go to a drive-thru. So I'm gonna read you the lyrics at the end of the first part, and you know what this song is about after this chorus, I should say. So, then I get an idea. I say, I know what we'll do. She says, what? I say, yes. She says, what? I say, we're going to the drive-thru. So we head out the front door, open the garage door. Then I open the car doors, and we get in those car doors, put my key in the ignition, and then I turn it sideways, and we fasten our seatbelts as we pull out the driveway. Then we drive to the drive-thru, heading off to the drive-thru. We're approaching the drive-thru, getting close to the drive-thru, almost there at the drive-thru. Now we're here at the drive-thru, here in line at the drive-thru. Did I mention the drive-thru? So yes, the song is about going to a drive-thru, and it is perfect. It has the greatest plot twists imaginable, and it has all the drama of a shitty soap opera squeezed into 11 minutes instead of a full series. This is a roller coaster of emotion, and I would go watch the music video for this when you listen to this song for the first time, just because it gives you a nice visual. So yeah, those are my top 10 Weird Al songs, and of course this list is entirely subjective, and if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. This is just personal preference. I know not everyone likes long, drawn-out story songs like I tend to like, and of course this is subject to change. I might have a completely different version of this list in a year. Maybe I'll just keep cranking out these lists, I guess. Probably not, because at least the first 4 or 5 are probably cemented into place, and like songs like Amish Paradise and Eat It are probably never going to leave this list. So who knows? There's like 3 to 4 open slots that might change. I guess it depends on if he releases new music. So anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. You should go check out all of these songs so you learn a little bit more about Weird Al and you'll learn a little bit more about me. If you have any favorite songs, maybe leave a comment down below and I'll listen to them or tell you what I think if I've already heard them. So anyway, Uncle Greg, if you're still here, I appreciate you listening. I'll make more content that is maybe geared towards you and not my other target audience. So anyways, that's this podcast. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys later this week with more videos. Peace out.